host, Dr. Wondwesen Feyisa.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for asking me this question. Yes, my name is Wondwesen Tefera Feyisa. I was born and raised here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and around Lideta area, and went to school up to high school here in Addis, and later on I continue my education later years in United States, and I have a bachelor degree in business management and master's in business administration, MBA, and later on I continue my education and doctor of education in social science. Later I extended to PhD in organizational leadership. That's a summary of my educational background. Of course, I have other professional leadership training with General Colin Powell, and leadership training in Singapore, and many other small trainings and educational background. As far as work concerned, I'm a work in private sector, and I'm a public servant engaging with the Ethiopian community and other communities in Africa, as well as in the United States, and that's what I do. So my main profession is consultant. I do behavior and business consulting, organizational consulting, leadership, and sports. So if I list them, we will not have enough time. But in short, I'm a public servant. That can be my definition.
Well, after a long stay at the United States of America, you come back to your country, home country, Ethiopia, for a family visit. So what is changing in Ethiopia?
Well, in Ethiopia, I started coming to Ethiopia about 6-7 years ago, but lately I've been coming a lot, and the changes, there's so many changes that's happening in Ethiopia, and it depends what you're looking for. But for me, I do see the optimism and in leadership, and a lot of young people are engaged and working, and infrastructure is changing. There is hope. There is some kind of wave. There is great optimism in the country. I'm not currently directly involved working in Ethiopia. However, eventually in the future, I'd like to be involved in mostly in education, leadership, policy, and so forth in the future. But there is so many encouraging things going on in Ethiopia.
How do you express the attachment of Ethiopians, especially Ethiopian diaspora, living in the United States of America, with the consuls or with the Ethiopian embassies residing there? What is the real attachment between you guys and the embassy?
Well, it's a great question. The Ethiopian government or the Ethiopian embassy was not really connected with the Ethiopian diasporas in the past. So I don't think there was any connection or collaboration at all. So as long as I know, but as far as I know. But however, the last few years after Dr. Abiy Ahmed came up with this new vision of transformation and reforming the country, the diaspora community was so engaged and optimistic, and work collaboratively with the Ethiopian embassy, and the Ethiopian embassy diplomats are not behind the gates anymore. They are personable. They are want to solve problems and try to find solution together. So them and us is very diminishing now. There is a lot of collaboration. And so I do see, of course, the diaspora community, you can't put them in one basket. There is different interests for different people. But from my perspective, I will say that every diaspora, they live there, but their heart is here. So you cannot disconnect the heart. Your name or the passport might be different. You might carry a different passport right now, considered diaspora, but our heart is always back home. So we want to do something, not only with finances, but with our education, experience, knowledge sharing, and any resources that we have in our disposal. We just want to help our country.
As all Ethiopian diasporas are ambassadors in our countries, how do you express the role of Ethiopian diaspora or the role of diasporas in general in promoting the national interests of their country for the international stakeholders?
As I said, for the last 3 years, I was not involved before that, but for the last 3 years, I do see a great new wave of diaspora's involvement in public diplomacy, fundraising, connecting, even supporting their own family here. So the diasporas, of course, they are ambassadors. All of us, we just have that national interest by nature or by my personality. I'm not a politician, and I don't pretend to be one. But I am a public servant and just want to be in policy and procedure and helping people. So there's so many diaspora community. They're advocating. They're great, great leaders. Just giving the good picture of Ethiopia. Ethiopia's image, a lot of Americans knows Ethiopia centuries ago. Oh, Ethiopia, Haile Selassie time, Ethiopia or the drought time, or Ethiopia, Derg time. So there is a lot of negative energy, negative information about Ethiopia. So the diaspora communities, those that I work with, and many others, they're bringing a new picture of who Ethiopia is. And Ethiopia is a great nation with a lot of great people. Very wealthy culture, resources, and diverse people, and that has to be exposed, and the international community need to know. So the diaspora is playing, or will continue playing, this role of informing other nations that who Ethiopia is, what we are, and where we're going. So in a proactive manner.
How do you express the opportunity that Ethiopia has for foreign investment?
Well, that's another $1 million question. I have a business background, MBA, and I do a lot of business consulting. I think for the diaspora community, for any businesses to get engaged, there is what's called investor confidence. So I believe the Ethiopian government or the business community here in Ethiopia are trying the best they can. I remember some banks came to United States and share their experiences and information to invite the diaspora community to come and invest in Ethiopia. So there is a lot of components still undergo and that need to be sharpened a little bit. So people want to have a confidence. So to invest, you don't just throw money and just go walk away. When you invest money, time, and nowadays you have to be here physically. So there is a lot of, it's progressing, but there is a lot of opportunity. The business community here in Ethiopia, as well as the Ethiopian government policymakers, to really discuss with the diaspora community what's the best practice, what's applicable for Ethiopia, how do we do this, collaboratively, and how do we bring in diasporas here. So in 2012, 2013, I was chosen to be the African Diaspora Mission Charge Affair for Ethiopia with the African Union, and I attended several meetings in Ghana. I've seen a lot of African Americans move to Ghana. Over 10,000 African Americans moved there. So they have a lot of programs and opportunities for African Americans or any African descent to move to Ghana. They facilitate those those kind of environments so people can come and invest. I believe the Ethiopian diasporas want to come and invest. Some people have money, some people have knowledge, some people have resources. Other people just want to come and just be here, retire here. So I think the Ethiopian policymakers, business communities, the diaspora agency still need to continue work with the diaspora community and figure out what's really practical and applicable for the diaspora community if they decide to move in, to come in to in Ethiopia, and help them, make it easier for them to invest.
Well, in general, in what ways the Ethiopian diasporas can participate and support their country and can participate in the developmental process that Ethiopia is undergoing right now? In what ways they can participate and support this development?
The Ethiopian government, I believe, has a very positive vision. It's a good vision, and in the past, the history, every new government came into power, they have to dismantle or destroy what has been done. I mean, not the structure, infrastructure, but the mentality, the thinking, or the leadership, including the person. When King Haile Selassie was removed, Derg has destroyed a lot of things. And when Yannick came in, destroyed Derg. But when Dr. Abiy Ahmed and his leadership came to power, they didn't destroy anybody. They just want to reform. They just want to, that's my thing, transformation leadership. They want to change. They want to reform the country. That takes time. That's a lot of challenges. So nobody in the world, including United States, will guarantee, hey, you know what, I'm going to bring you this kind of change, but without any conflict, without any misunderstanding, without any tension. That's part of the process of change. That's part of the process of change. So I believe the diaspora community need to be patient, need to understand, need to trust the process. I don't have direct link or connection with the Ethiopian government. I'm a civil servant. But I expect or I anticipate they know what they're doing. They are sharing a great vision. But at the same time, working with the diaspora community will enhance the future of the Ethiopian development. The diasporas have a lot of knowledge. They have resources. They have finances. They have experience. And some of them, they're not even using it because that's not the field they want to operate. So the diasporas can come to Ethiopia and help the process of developing the country. And as well as when it's still there, they can still advocate for their country, even helping their own family, just starting even from a small dollar and helping their friends, their brothers, their sisters to get education, to get a job, those kind of things also to elevate the process of growth and development.
How do you encourage the Ethiopian diaspora to come and invest in Ethiopia? And as also you can share us your personal, if you have any plan in investment sector here in Ethiopia.
I don't have investment. I have a property here in Addis. My family and I, we purchased a while ago. And the place you interview me right now, this is my wife's sister's hotel. But I don't have personally a great big investment here in Ethiopia. My investment now is knowledge. I'm investing in knowledge and mentoring, counseling, and guiding people, being coached. But I don't know the detail of what other opportunities are there for Ethiopians to come and invest here in Ethiopia. One of the things a lot of people ask me a question is about housing. Housing is a problem. Of course, you need a place to live. Where I was born and lived and grew up, the environment is different than where it is right now. So when I come in to live here, I have to really look for a place where accessible, comfortable to live. So a lot of diaspora's question is, I want to go buy a house. So when they come and buy a house here, if they don't have cash, they might not be able to purchase a home. And if they want to borrow from the bank, the interest rate is not attractive. So those kind of things the banking industry can work with, because where I live in America, you can borrow, mortgage a house from 2.5% up to 5% interest. So if they want to come to Ethiopia, why they must have a reason to come. So I know everybody want to come, but that's work in progress. I believe the Ethiopian diaspora team, the agency, as well as foreign ministry and other ministers probably is working on it. But I cannot advocate and say, hey, everybody come here, the grass is green this side. But I believe everybody will make their own decision personally. But personally, myself, there is a lot of potential, there is a lot of opportunity, and I believe Ethiopia is a place to invest right now because you might not see the fruit right away, but gradually, in the future, there is what you call ROI, right? Return on investment. When you look at that, there is a lot of potentials of economy, a strong economy. Ethiopia will be one of the, at least the middle class, and very soon. The trajectory, you can see that. So I believe I encourage the diaspora community at least come, visit, spend a little money, take your family for vacation, contribute, stimulate the economy, especially with the current situation where every foreign government is tightening their money. So the diaspora community have a greater responsibility, even if they don't get anything in return, still like a seed, they can just give their resources, their money, their knowledge, their time to the Ethiopian people.
Well, at the moment, the Ethiopian government, the Ethiopian people is constructing its own dam with its own territory, with its own finance. In what ways the Ethiopian diaspora, you guys, are participating in this developmental process and in helping, supporting this Renaissance dam?
Yeah, first of all, I like to appreciate the Ethiopian community, Ethiopian people here in Ethiopia, the Ethiopian government for this vision to be self-supported, self-sufficient, to build our own Abai Dam. It need to be applauded. We need to be appreciated. And think the international community need to, first of all, appreciate. Even we have to start with something positive. Great. The people of Ethiopia, regardless of their shortcoming, regardless of their own situation, they go above and beyond. They give their money, their time, their resources to build this dam. This is a great endorsement. This is a really great opportunity for international community to say. But I will say it myself, it's a really great project. This is really unheard of. A lot of even America and other places, they still have some kind of aid or some type of contribution from other institution or to build such kind of project. So Ethiopia is doing a great job on that. And I personally and my family contributed. It's very little, but hopefully in the future there will be some opportunity to do so. But yes, the diaspora community are continuous sacrificingly are giving. And of course there is a lot of emotional givers, purposeful givers, sacrificial givers, and some people give from overflow. So most diasporas, I believe they're giving sacrificially. They work 24/7 and they're giving their resources to build this dam, and eventually we will finish it, and we will have our own energy, and we will relieve the burden of poverty from most of the majority of our mothers and families, so we can be independent with our resources. So I believe the diaspora community, this is a high time, in fact, even to give their money, their time, their resources, and advocate for this great project. We want to see it because Ethiopians are finishers. We finish. We start something, we finish. Regardless of what other people are saying, we can finish this project, and then I would say we'll see the other side.
The Ethiopian government is trying to solve the disagreement that was happened among the Egyptian side and the Sudan, but the Ethiopian government wanted the African Union-led process negotiation in the right way, whereas the Egyptian and the Sudan side wanted the involvement of the Western countries. What is your comment?
Well, like I say, I leave this for politicians, but from as a public servant, my personal opinion, there is a lot of noise. So every time when something bark, I don't think the Ethiopian government have to respond for that. So I believe they have their own closed-door diplomacy on that area. However, the international community, we cannot expect a lot because diplomacy is sometimes is not fair. Sometimes a lot of things can happen. There must be some kind of bias. But I believe the Ethiopian government is very capable, knowledgeable. They know what they're doing. And also, Ethiopia is a sovereign nation. So Ethiopia does not have an external boss. Ethiopian government is hired by Ethiopian people. So the Ethiopian government boss is the Ethiopian people. So as long as it satisfies the need of the Ethiopian people, the Ethiopian government, I believe, will not waver for whatever pressure that's coming from outside. However, the international community need to be aware Ethiopia is a sovereign nation. and we can build our own infrastructure. We don't cross the border and take anybody's resources. We are using our own resources. It's a high time to do so. And we need it. We need it now. So the international community need to respect that. So the Ethiopian government will do what needs to be done. But with peaceful resolution, I believe, there will be some consensus. There will be some resolution, I anticipate. However, the diaspora community need to continue advocate and voluntarily write articles, and even the medias need to be either short or long articles need to be exposed to the international community why we do what we do. That's very important. But we cannot continue being defense and continue explaining our motive and what we do. It's very clear. Everybody knows that. So Ethiopia, most of the time, I watched one documentary, and King Haile Selassie mentioned, he said, we were planning to build Abai, but we might not do it now because we were not getting any support from international community or anybody. But he said, time will come, our children will build with their own money. So that's kind of like a prophecy for today. So I believe this is a great time. We contribute sacrificially. The diaspora community need to give, regardless of our differences, religious differences, ethnic differences, political differences. This is national interest. So anytime when it comes to national interest, puts the war or the conflict aside, focus on this. We can deal with it later. So that's my opinion. So I believe the international community will continue to put pressure on Ethiopia, and I assume, but Ethiopian government knows how to respond. But for us, for the diaspora community, we need to be vigilant and continue to advocate for Ethiopia's interest.
Currently, especially following the situation in the country, and especially in the operation takes place in the Tigray regional state Ethiopia, many international actors, including the US and other countries, especially the Western countries, wants to get involved in the Ethiopia's internal affairs, but Ethiopia denies. What is your comment?
I think the reform is only, 3 years? So we don't expect Dr. Abiy Ahmed and his team will find somebody within 3 years completely changed the entire country, the entire narrative. So he's working, or I believe the Ethiopian government is working whatever is available right now in terms of human resources, whether it's in the diplomatic sector, business, all those kind of aspects. So Ethiopia still has a disadvantage of public diplomacy, meaning that most of the medias and most of the publicity right now in the Western world, especially in the United States, are still a propaganda, negative propaganda of the past government or the Wayani philosophy. So that is still presence. So that diplomacy is very connected. Ethiopia, this transition government is new, and we have not worked that platform yet. So with that, as you know, in 21st century is information. So information is important. So sometimes you get wrong information, you have a wrong conclusion. I believe that's what the narrative is. Most of the decision is being made. They get one-sided information. We don't know what their motive is. So all Ethiopia is asking is, we don't want to remain poor. We want to be a prosperous nation. We want to survive. We want to live. We want to have the same opportunity like everybody else. That's like a basic need for us. We're not asking for more. We're asking for basic need. We're asking for water. We're asking for light. We're asking for food. And then we didn't ask for foreign government to help us. So it's good. We're glad they've been helping us for centuries. But I think we are capable to manage our own resources and help. So I think the foreign government will realize very soon, probably they made a biggest mistake, and they will retrieve and try to mend the relationship that they have with this great nation, and also respect our dignity, and so we can be able to progressively help our people to survive and thrive. So Dr. Abiy's vision, or the Ethiopian young people vision right now, is not only survival, but we want to leave legacy. We see beyond ourselves. So that's one of the things that need to be aware.
As one Ethiopian American, what is your personal observation and comment on the sanction that the U.S. is now proposing on trying to impose in Ethiopian officials, on the Ethiopian officials, in restricting visa? What is your comment?
Well, the globe is not one, it's many. Sometimes it's laughable. For me, as an American citizen, even though I was Ethiopian born, I think my government in America have miscalculated, in my opinion, and so they rush into a conclusion to the matter. So I believe they can be altering that. So I think the Ethiopian government will be transparent. I heard they've been transparent, but they will be more transparent, allowing the international community to go and visit the Tigray region and many other regions and tell them the truth and show them what's going on. It's not in response to what the United States have said, but the United States have the right. We live in freedom of speech. We can do whatever we want to do, but there must be accountability. So I believe the United States government need to consider that. Ethiopia has a strong relationship with the United States for over 100 years. And the diaspora community, even though we have connection with Ethiopia here, most of our asset is there. We employ people. We pay taxes. We help develop our country, America. They need to be aware that all our taxpayers' money should not be a tools to punish other nations. So my personal opinion to my constituents, I was here when the sanctions happened. Hopefully when I go back, I will have opportunity to talk to the senators and lawmakers and the people that I know and those I don't know, to just have a second opinion, to look at it. I know they're very smart people. I'm very proud, but also sometimes they can be misled, make decision based on the American interest. So most of the American policy is based on American interest, not Ethiopian interest. So I have two interests. As a citizen, I have American interest. I have a born, this is my homeland. I have Ethiopian interest. So I make sure that's balanced. And I believe Ethiopia has been keeping American interest and fight with terrorism and fight with other insurgency. And in this region, Ethiopia has been a leading role model, need to be appreciated. And I don't mean that because of this, other factors has to be diminished, but we need to consider that. We don't need to burn the bridge. So I believe it's the decision that's been made is laughable, but I don't think they will stop with this, but hopefully they will learn and pivot a little bit and have a negotiation and understanding. So if Ethiopia Parliament have declared TPLF is part of the terrorist or a terrorist organization, there is no zero tolerance American policy. You don't negotiate with terrorists. We need to save the Tigrayan people. We need to restore the Tigrayan people. We need to restore the Oromia people. We need to restore the Amhara people. Everybody, Ethiopian as a nation, need to be restored. So the government need to focus, a single focus, helping people. So the outside diplomacy will solve by itself. But I would encourage my fellow diasporas continue to talk to their senators, congressmen, and mayors, and proactively, let's have a discussion.
Don't you think that this kind of rash decisions will affect the long-standing relationship between both countries, Ethiopia and the United States of America?
Yeah, it might not, because sometimes some decision, like I remember, I think last year President Donald Trump made a statement. Because of that, all of us, we were angry. We were not happy about with his statement, but that didn't go anywhere, you know. So sometimes some people will make a statement and eventually will wash it away. But this kind of statement, like America, this is not the first time American government have done. American government have done this kind of thing for many, many other nations. When they are off the track, they use their superpower to make sure that things are aligned. But I know, I don't know how they make this decision. Of course, it will impact the long relationship that the American government and the American people have with Ethiopia. So there's two different things: the Ethiopian government and American government, and the people to people. So I don't think the people to people relationship is cracking or have a problem. Even the government to government problem, I don't think there is a problem. But there is tension right now. So hopefully they probably in discussion, and they might solve that problem within that diplomacy, within the diplomacy community. However, my personal opinion, Ethiopia will need to continue build. Ignore. Sometimes you just continue build what you're doing. You know, history tells us many leaders, if they distracted for every bark, and they will never accomplish what they promised they will do. So Ethiopian government has a mandate. They have a mandate to continue this peaceful election, go through, and they have a mandate to finish the dam and actually fill the second segment of this project, and as well as also feeding the country. And also don't forget about the pandemic is still here. So the Ethiopian government and the Ethiopian people have that responsibility. So regardless of all these noises, I think we have to focus on what's best for us, what's best for Ethiopian people, what's best for Ethiopian farmers and students and so forth. But of course, you know, things will change. I'm very optimistic. I believe the American lawmakers will understand that. So they will probably modify whatever they have said, or if say that's a set stone, maybe there is another. They are losing. They have been losing up a little bit for the last few days, and just watching the news and seeing some stuff. I believe they are very considerably. The Oklahoma senator is very outspoken. He visited Ethiopia for more than 19 times. He knows Ethiopia. So most senators knows Ethiopia. So the senator of my state knows Ethiopia very well. And we have talked to him before. And so personally, I mean, they know Ethiopia personally. So they understand the culture and everything that's in Ethiopia. So hopefully they will be able to accommodate. But I don't think the Ethiopian government or the Ethiopian people right now, their main issue is not getting a visa, go to the United States. So I think that's irrelevant. Hopefully they will stop that kind of aggression and continue to negotiate for other aspects. So I don't think economically or any other thing will bring any impact, because like I said, the market is big. So China is here, Russia is here, many other countries. In the past, you know, governments, when they are not agreeing with America, immediately they go to Russia, they become communist country. But now you don't have to. You don't have to change your identity. You don't have to change your religion. You don't have to change your political opinion. You can collaboratively work with any country. So China, and Russia, and many other countries. So it will be too bad for my fellow Americans, and not align with Ethiopia is a loss for America, not more for Ethiopia. So I can see that narrative. So America will benefit more by being aligned with Ethiopia than Ethiopia will benefit more from America. So it might be mutual, but in my personal opinion, America has more interest in Ethiopia than Ethiopia has interest in America. So I will leave that to the politicians, and I will leave that to the government officials to figure it out. But as a public servant, that's what I can see, and life will continue.
I'm done with all my questions. Dr. Wondwesen, if you have a general message for the public, for the government of Ethiopia, especially on the current situation of the country and others, you are highly welcome.
Well, I appreciate it. First of all, I do appreciate for the opportunity you gave me. Second, for American government and or for the diplomats here in Ethiopia, I want them to really continue work diligently to find a real solution for the real problem. So that's what my encouragement or my motivation for them is, to see the whole picture rather than one side of let's go to the root and then leave for professional what they need to do, but let them use their public and diplomatic environment and opportunity to help other people. For the Ethiopian government, all I can say is let them do what they need to do, be transparent and continue focus on their vision, and do what they're supposed to do, continue serving the people. For Ethiopian people, all I can say is patient, because we need to trust the process. Trust, the transformation takes time, takes resources. We need to trust the process. There is input, there's process, there is output. So we have a great vision. Ethiopia is not a poor country, because poverty is not in the pocket, poverty is in the mind. So Ethiopia is a great nation. We are broke now, we don't have what we need probably, and disposable finances, but we're not poor. So that mentality will change. I encourage the Ethiopian young people, all people, middle age, all, to work hard, continue focus on what they do best, not to really get crazy with all the media saying. Choose what they need to hear and focus on that. And lastly, everybody should be their brother keeper. Community, a lot of people expect the Ethiopian government to send soldiers to protect them all over the nation. For 117 million people, even if the Ethiopian government have 1 million or 2 million soldiers, that's not still big enough to protect people. So I believe every Ethiopians can organize a community policing and then protect their family, protect their resources, protect their mothers and fathers, and just create that awareness of, hey, this is my country, this is my home, I need to protect, reach out to other people. So let's find something that will unite us than that will divide us. So I believe, finally, what I can say is, a lot of people say, hey, we need to be like a smoothie or compress idea. But I believe in fruit salad. When you order a fruit salad, you see papaya, you see mango, you see avocado, you see banana. All those kind of fruits comes in one plate. It's beautiful. That's when we need to understand our diversity. Diversity inclusion is that. We have multiple ideas, skills, talents, giftings, background, culture. That's our heritage. Then we use that fruit salad to satisfy our need. So let's appreciate our differences, and let's focus on what can unite us than divide us. And that's all I can say. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to share. Hopefully other diasporas, they will get a chance to connect with you guys as well.
I thank you very much for your time and the kindness to have such a beautiful interview, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for asking me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this will bring us to the end of this edition. I'm Ulkaba Ndemo by hosting this program for you. Till the next edition. Have a beautiful weekend.